Attention, everybody. The views and opinions expressed on this show are not necessarily those of Axe Ministry, Axe Media Group, and or their affiliate and subordinate ministries and or nonprofits. Good morning! Coming to you live from Axe Media Group headquarters here in beautiful Springfield, Missouri. It's The Morning Drive with Matt and Jay with your hosts, Matt and Jay and Steve.
What?
And the Invisible Man. Got the Invisible Man right here. Say,
Yeah.
how you doing? How you doing? Steve? What's up?
What's up?
I can live.
He's so transparent.
I know. You can see right through the guy.
I'm sorry, that was there.
Waiting for the hook. You could close the door. Who I was before.
Now I'm picturing Jeffrey doing that all over again.
I know, right? So good morning, everybody, and welcome to The Morning Drive with Matt and Jay. My name is Matt.
My name is Jay.
My name's Steve.
We're glad to have everybody on board with us today. Still have not got around to watching the DNC convention.
How long does it go on?
3 days.
So
4 days.
So today is the last day of it.
No, yesterday. Actually, they started Monday. It
Oh.
ended last
Okay,
night.
so I can go back and I can actually watch the entire
How
thing
long is it?
and see the issues that they were talking about.
Don't they go like all day?
Maybe on certain cable channels, but I think that they do an evening special where it's on for at least a couple hours.
Because I personally think that both parties should not spend the entire time bashing the other person, but talking about the issues.
Exactly.
Issues that really are that we've talked about these issues before on here about how people will stay sick because they can't afford to go to the doctor
Yeah.
because they don't have good enough insurance to do so.
Well, and now with all the false COVID, false positive COVIDs because of insurance and all that, and that the rumor is that police are, that hospitals are trying to, they get more money for that, so they're false positive. That's where you lose trust in the system,
Yeah.
Now
which
they're
is
trying to
universal in almost every system right now, isn't it?
Yeah, and now they're trying to defund police. I think there's a couple states, and I forgot which states that are in cities that
doing
are
it.
defunding police.
Defunding police makes no sense to me. Now, holding officers more accountable for their actions definitely does make sense.
Yeah.
Because you guys were talking about this. I kind of distanced myself from your conversation a little bit on account of my anxiety type stuff.
Right.
So I try not to overstimulate my brain, and because I'm an empathetic person, whenever that's why I didn't watch the video, because I put myself in that person's place and I experience it with them as far as I know how to, and I can't stop myself from doing that. So I avoid watching any kind of really graphic videos like that.
Yeah.
But I do believe that every officer that was there should be held accountable for for manslaughter or whatever it is that
Something more needs to come from. I think that the response being held responsible. But I think the demonstrators and
Morning,
what's
Larry.
happening in America right now.
Good morning, Barbara Etzler,
Look what happened in 2000.
Rob
What was it?
Duckins, and Jennifer.
Look what happened when?
2016, wasn't it? When the market crashed and they had to bail out the banks, and they found out what the banks were doing with all those mortgages. None of them were held accountable. None of them went to
that's true.
jail.
That's
None
true.
of them met justice. So when we feel like we can't even go to court to settle a dispute because we can't afford a lawyer and we can't afford the court costs and the court fees, and then we see these super wealthy people I don't even think they saw the inside of a courtroom.
Probably not.
And then you see what's happened with the police in some instances where they did not meet the true justice. And so when justice fails in a democratic republic like we have, and people feel like justice is no longer serving them, that it's actually serving the elite and oppressing the middle class and lower class, you start to feel nihilistic.
And I
And
think that,
and that's liberty. If living without freedom is not worth living. It's worth dying for freedom because it's not worth living without.
Well, that's true. That's a good point.
I think that that's why there's so much heat against police because of what happened. They figure, hey, all you guys are doing is doing nothing but killing. I don't think it has it might have to do with black and white issue, but I think that
I think it has more to do with justice.
right, and I think that that's where justice has been twisted. Justice has been served
Bought
on
and sold.
Yep, and so I think that's why there's so much evil and so much torment towards the police who want to defund police, wanting to do this. to
Because they're the
police.
straw.
Right.
They're the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. It's like you get mistreated all day long by 1,000 people. The 1,001th person that you go off on is going to get it all.
I like that. 1,001.
1,001.
No, that's perfect.
I'm not even sure. So yeah, but
I get your
you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It's right now the police are the ones who are getting the brunt of this
Yes.
because people are tired of seeing justice slip away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I've talked about that before as well. We have about like you say you're going through your day at work, and every half hour somebody comes up and steps on your toe,
Yeah.
and then walks away. Well, then you have by the end of the day you've had 100 people step on your toe, and then the last person that stepped on your toe, you go off on them completely, and punish them for everybody else's toe stepping thing that they did.
Yes.
That's
When the problem really is
that's a good point.
whatever you're doing that's putting your toe there,
yeah.
or whatever your system is that brings their feet to the same place as your toe, there could be some modification there that could be minor, hardly even noticed. And that's what that's what I think what we're talking about is how we, in order to face the true problems, we have to be able to listen to those we disagree with.
Absolutely.
Because even when it hurts, even when when we don't agree and we don't like it, because a lot of times what you have to do is you start from those catchphrases and those political slogans, and those set us right off to the beginning. But then you got to take it down and disassemble it and take off all of those little things where people are just basically parroting what they heard on this TV channel or that TV channel. And I think when you unstack all of that and the person finally gets to what it really is that's grieving them, I think, in my opinion, is that we are no longer represented by justice, by our government, by our employers, by anybody. That we are now fighting for, fighting in this world. I mean, we live in the land of opportunity. But when the opportunity becomes nothing but work and then no real benefit except that you get to live,
Yeah.
and a lot of it's psychological. We don't need a lot of the things that we have.
No.
And those things oppress us too.
Yeah.
I don't think it's agree to disagree. I think that's philosophy, or that saying is really going out the window, because there is no agreeing to disagree. You either agree or you disagree, and we want to know why you disagree. And if you disagree the way, that's where the tension starts.
Yeah. Well, with everything, there's a happy medium. There's got to be a compromise of some sort.
Not lately.
No, and that's what I think. You like in regards to politics, when you start to talk to somebody, if they find out you're on the opposite side as them, immediately immediately you're in that bracket of absolute disagreement. And then you have to try and get out of that, and it's impossible almost to get out of that. Whenever you start out a conversation hardcore disagreeing, you get the anger and the emotion involved with that, and then there's no hope for the conversation to progress to anything.
It just goes
productive
downhill
from there.
I think people are finding though that aren't. I think that what we're finding is that in this country somehow it has gotten to where we have the liberty to have a 3-bedroom home with 2 bathrooms, 2-car garage, and 2 cars. And if you're going to venture off of that model, you're going to meet resistance by the law, by the statutes, by what I mean. You can't. There's a model that they set up, and that now everything is like a giant proverbial funnel that you are now trapped in that forces you in this one direction. Because if you think about it, if you decide, you know what, I don't want to work 40 to 60 hours a week for the rest of my life for this house. What I want to do is this instead. And then you find out, so suppose you want to be RV, you want to live in an RV, you want to travel the country, see the world, meet the people of all the different states and places, even in the continent. When you actually start to work towards that, you find out that you are legislated against. For one thing, you can't go and stay in a state for more than, I think it's 14 days in that perspective.
Really?
No.
Wow.
14 days is a hard, that's not a lot of time. To see, when you get out there and try to actually see something and meet people and see what a culture's like and a place is like. Another thing is there's only certain states that actually, and I'm just using this as an example. I think people have found that they are no longer represented and they're no longer free. They are only free and only have the liberty to live one way and to choose one model. Only one dream is now available. And if you try to venture away from that dream, you are, first of all, legislated out of the possibility of achieving it, which I don't think is constitutional. You know, I understand the problems that come along with some of these lifestyle choices that they have to manage those things. But I think going with a law that abolishes it or outlaws it or making laws that support industries is just false. It's just wrong. You're not representing the people.
That's right. All right, so we got a viewer, Randy. Is it Gumatab? I was just trying to figure out if he. I guess I don't know if that's a different language or not, but it looks.
Think I see him.
Anyways,
I don't see him here.
Stephanie Brown. Good morning. I just wanted to acknowledge him. Good morning.
By the way, we need to pray for Stephanie.
I haven't stopped praying for Stephanie.
Yeah, Stephanie's going through. She just got results, and Stephanie, I'm going to go ahead and tell everybody, but she was diagnosed with a cognitive disorder yesterday through her neurologist.
Cognitive disorder. What
Is
is
that the lady I worked with?
No, Stephanie Brown is Rachel's sister,
Oh, okay.
and it looks like early onset of dementia.
Oh,
And,
no.
but it won't affect her. From what Rachel told me, it probably won't affect her for the next 20 years. So correct me if I'm wrong, Steph. But
Well, they have a lot of good treatments for that now.
mhm.
If they find it in an
so
early stage.
don't worry, Steph. You know, just rely on God, and I know you will. But we need to pray for her, and because that's kind
I
of
thought
like
they had treatments that could stop the advancement of it if they catch it early now.
yeah. I
And
thought
I
so.
know
Well,
they
she's got
can slow the
osteoporosis now
advancement.
too. So
Oh, maybe some interactions there.
yeah. So with osteoporosis and this, you know, it's really tough. So we just need to pray for comfort and that for Steph. I wanted to throw that out there, and I don't think you minded me saying anything because I know you need prayer.
Sorry, I'm
Morning,
looking
Elizabeth.
here real quick.
ILO.
Yeah, that's in Spanish. Slight.
C. Oh.
Sorry,
That's all
I
I
was-
know. Si, senor and senorita, and Rachel knows more Spanish than I do.
I have a guy at work that keeps calling me senorita. He knows it bothers me. I mean, I keep telling. Finally, the other day, I kind of went off and I was like, "Look, I've told you before. I don't appreciate being called that. You know,
What do they call you?
senorita."
Oh, yeah, I had somebody call me that the other day, too.
And it's like, I told you, I don't appreciate being called that, and he does it anyway. So I finally I said, look, and I'm not asking you to stop calling me that now. I'm telling you, stop calling me that. I know what it is. I know you think you're being funny, but stop. And then he tries to,
Blow it off.
tries to talk to me like I don't know any Spanish whatsoever. I have a half brother that's half Mexican, another half brother that's half Puerto Rican. I know Spanish enough to get me in trouble. What is that noise?
That sounds like a bad connection. Oh, it may be. Did somebody pull these down or something? They may
I never
be pulling
touched
back.
them. I haven't touched it except for.
We're like, oh no.
See,
So, anyways, it's Friday.
yeah.
I'll be able if I get to change my starter out today.
Yay!
That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's actually probably not going to be that. I'm praying to God it's not going to be that difficult because it's up there pretty high and there's a lot of space. All I got to do is take out the air breather and the battery. And I think you're supposed to disconnect the battery whenever you're installing a starter anyways.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that would be a really good idea.
yeah.
So,
Unless you want to burn holes in steel.
yeah, which, that's not fun. Burning holes in steel is,
No.
unless you
It
really
is.
enjoy that.
Yeah, no, it's
So,
not good.
I'm hoping to get my window
Set your
fixed
battery on
before-
fire.
I'm hoping to get my window fixed before it rains. That regulator and motor is what is in the panel.
Yeah.
And it finally stopped the other day, and I'm like, Lord, please let's not send any rain until after it's fixed.
I'm seeing more and more car windows taped up.
Yeah, I know. I've
Lately.
seen that,
You are seeing more car windows taped up lately?
Yeah, more
but
and
I'm
more.
also seeing police cars behind them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, now, my first DWI that I ever got, I
Morning, Virginia.
pulled off on the side of the road because I realized I didn't need to be driving. Now that's what I told the police, and that's what I stuck with that for a while. But honestly, and this is really scary, I blacked out and passed out, and just happened to have my foot on the brake, and pulled half on the sidewalk and half in the road. And they thought I had been in a wreck because the week before I was hilltopping, which is dumb in and of itself.
Yeah. Dangerous.
But I was also drinking that day too, and blew the airbags. I hit these railroad tracks over by my house, and if you hit them going faster than 5-10 miles an hour, you're going to catch a little air.
Yeah.
There, I mean, it's a ramp essentially, like a
Oh,
jump
I've
ramp.
seen those.
And came down on just enough on the bumper, it blew the airbags and busted the passenger side of the windshield. And then, of course, burnt my arms really bad. And, anyways, so
Bless you.
I don't even know where I was going with that. It was me
Weird.
being, stupid.
Good morning, John.
Drinking and driving,
Waiting.
I will say, is stupid. I mean, it's dangerous. You can kill yourself and other people,
Yeah.
wreck your car.
Over there in Pontiac, where I'm originally from, there's a ramp.
But I was stupid a lot.
And people at night, I would say 10, 11 o'clock, they used to drag race. That stopped pretty much after a while.
They
after
raced
peop-
dragons.
Yes, exactly. And they would lose the bottom part of their car
Right.
They would lose the bottom part of their car.
or the bumper, like you said. I mean, they were drag racing right through the city, downtown, and they would hit that one ramp. Of course, they evened it all out. It's not like that anymore, but they smoothed it all out, so now it's not so hilly. But the tracks needed to be replaced a few times, and man,
Did you ever drag race?
no.
Jay, did you ever drag race?
Never.
Is that sarcasm?
I've done it just a couple of times, and it's very enjoyable, and I would like to do it a lot more.
I might not have drag raced, but I was with friends that did. I was with friends that
And it was
did.
very enjoyable, and I would like to do it more. But it's illegal, so
Right, so you don't do that.
But you want to make sure the lights are flashing.
No, there's
red
no
or
there's no law.
flashing
There's no
yellow.
law that says you have you have to accelerate to the speed limit at a certain rate.
yeah. Well,
And how do they measure that?
you can get a
Excessive
ticket,
smoke.
but you can get a ticket for exhibition of the speed limit. That's like a real thing. If you're burning rubber
Right.
intentionally, that's careless and imprudent
Or-
driving.
or-
That's CNI,
It
and
is.
that'll hit your license harder than a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Fines, that's higher on a
Insurance.
CNI.
Ooh.
Insurance on a CNI.
Ooh.
Yeah.
The younger you are, the harder.
I told Jordan failed his driver's ed. I'm calling you out if you're watching, son. Failed his driver's ed, and I told him, I was like, well, you're going to have to deal with the consequences of that, because driver's ed, if you pass driver's ed, that actually will lower your insurance rate. That's the whole point of taking driver's ed. not only to educate you in driving, but also so you can get lower insurance, which is
Huh?
really high. Yeah, if you pass driver's ed.
What did he fail?
Wow.
Oh well, we can talk about it off. It's lack of doing his work.
Uh-huh. Got
Not
it.
knowing the answers.
Well, it's not even trying to know the answers. Not even trying.
Whoa.
Yeah, I can't.
So if you're watching, son, I love you. I'll see you here in a little bit.
See, just by you saying
gonna see
that,
him
I
today?
caught it.
Jana, good morning.
Good morning, Jana. We talked last night.
Steve Schultz says, I can remember when a lot of kids did hilltop and my friend's daughter got, I can't impersonate him. His friend's daughter got killed hilltopping. And there was another kid that got killed hilltopping over there on that same set of railroad tracks.
It's
See, the
common
problem
knowledge.
is when you get airborne, you cannot steer your car.
Yeah, and when your
Exactly.
suspension goes from those extremes, it changes angles, the geometry of your suspension.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was saying about my situation. In Pontiac, people were hitting that and airborne, and when they come down, they just lose tires and things underneath their car.
Yeah.
Yeah, there cars that do that they're designed to do it.
Yeah.
They're designed to handle those geometric changes,
Yeah.
and their suspensions travel further, and
Well, when you're a teenager and you got
and-
an older car,
Well, see, and it was really irresponsible because I had somebody else in the car with me.
Mm-hmm.
And that airbag hit her right in the nose.
oh man,
ouch.
And I've seen, when I was on the fire department, I've
been
seen
knocked
little
out by
fender
one.
benders be way worse because of the airbag going off. Now they've got, like what, 4th and 5th generation airbags, probably more than that, that weigh in the seat, like, the computer assesses the whole entire situation before it explodes the airbags, and it all happens in a microsecond
At the speed of light.
at the speed of light. And then they use nitrogen something or other that it causes the bag to explode out. So it literally explodes out. The
Yeah.
bag does at what 200.
I got hit
miles
by
per hour?
one. I got knocked out so hard by it. I was reaching down to get my phone when they went off. I dropped my phone on the floor. So my head was right, like, next to the dashboard.
Oh,
sometimes you can get severe burn from that.
just out of
didn't get
nowhere,
any
it
burns.
exploded out of nowhere.
Yeah. No, the girl that was driving hit the car in front of her.
Oh,
And I was knocked out so
glad it
long.
didn't break your neck.
Now, I'm lucky it didn't. And I already had a bad neck at the time, so I was lucky. But I was knocked out so long that all I remember was seeing a flash of them putting her into the ambulance in the car. So she hit a car. I got knocked out. They came, got the people out of the car in front of us. They removed the car that was in the in front of us. They removed the girl from the car that was in the car with me driving, and were putting her in the ambulance before I remember anything at all. I remember seeing them put her in the ambulance. And then I remember the EMTs after that trying to revive me, like to get to talk to me.
Yeah.
So it
Like
was
smelling salts? Did they use smelling salts?
they had almost the whole scene cleaned up, everybody else gone off the scene before I remember anything. And then I don't even remember getting put in the ambulance. I don't remember getting taken to the hospital. I don't even hardly remember getting released from the hospital.
You were, basically your head was blown up.
Got knocked out.
Because not just
well, my neck got snapped
not
back,
just-
and that's what does it. It's trauma. It's a minor trauma.
also
to
the concussion,
brainstem.
the concussion
Morning,
in the
Mr.
air,
Allison.
because it literally is a controlled explosion.
Yeah, right. Contained. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
when we got into our accident, we had I can't remember the name of the car.
The
but I'm-
displacement of air and that quick. of
But
a time
anyway,
It was hard.
messes with your
we
equilibrium.
got hit by a '78 Cadillac or something. It was one of those bigger cars. It was a '78, and we was in a Saturn. That's what it was. But they're built for accidents. You know, they've got a cage that if you actually get hit from behind, it kind of buckles. It doesn't really
Crumple zones.
crumple. It does
Impact zones.
but it's got this accident prone or accident cage or whatever you want to call it. So it hits and goes under instead of goes in. It goes
Happy
up.
birthday, Jim Whining. Yesterday was his birthday. Sorry.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
okay.
Happy birthday, Jim.
Anyways, continue. Crumple zones.
Crumple zones. Anyway,
Right
when we
into
Rachel and I
crumple
actually
zone.
hit our head, and we got knocked off for just a few seconds. But instead of the airbags deploying, our seats actually went back, and we laid like this. And we found out later on that that was a recall situation, and we never knew that you're not supposed to, those seats are not supposed to automatically flip back down like that, and that's what happened. We hit our heads as we were going down, and so that's what actually saved us. And
You know what? You know what? You know what else will save you? Speaking of saving us, I can't do it really good. Trying to do a segue into this show is sponsored by. About said. You know what I about just said?
I know what you
yeah,
mean.
well,
Ozark Mountain
that's a good
Craft
save.
Mall.
It is a good save.
Ozark Mountain Craft Mall, that is 1940 at Missouri 76 in Branson, Missouri. 417-320-1221. She made both of our shirts that we are wearing today.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, this right here is my cup that you had made. You had her make it for my
Yes.
birthday.
Yes.
So let me get a little bit of a. This is just and and these are all fully customizable. Like she'll customize them however you want. Like is there patterns you pick from and stuff like that, like different things. And then like she actually glazes them and
Epoxy. Puts
epoxy. So let's do this. Dang, that's my guitar mug. Guitar mug. And then she also put. I got coffee spilled on the name. My name right there. See that?
Oh,
Look
but
at
that means it's good and used.
Yeah.
Ozark.
And it's a
Mountain
stainless
Craft
steel.
Mall.
It's a stainless steel mug, and this thing I use it up here at the office all the time, because I don't want to lose it. I have a tendency of losing. What do you call it?
Everything.
Yes, everything.
That's not a good thing. I mean, you know.
I finally dropped my ceramic one. It broke. It was a nice
Oh.
one. I liked it.
You dropped your ceramic.
I had a
one.
ceramic one like that,
Like this.
right? Like a coffee mug type with the lid and everything. It was insulated also,
Mm.
double layer.
Oh.
Really cool.
Well, we need to make you one now and have it be like
Oh.
motorcycles or something.
I didn't use it as often as I.
Like this,
Should
you're
have,
not.
but-
This is not.
I don't usually
Dishwasher
travel
safe.
with coffee because I ride a motorcycle.
She did not say. I can find
Well,
out today.
she gave me there was a card in there with instructions. I think
Yeah.
you're supposed to
Don't use
hand
it.
wash it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't.
I
dishwash it.
would, if I were you, with
You
something
go
like that, I would hand wash it anyway.
Mm.
Whether it's dishwasher safe or not, it's not good because of the heat element inside the dishwasher. It could melt.
You don't want your guitar to be a good girl.
Be like
Melted.
be like my Martin was a couple months after owning it and leaving it in the car for
Right.
a couple
Instead of
hours.
Matt, it would be meh or meat.
Meh. Or
Oh.
meh.
Meh. Forget the TT, the meh. My name is Ma.
So we've got a part 2 of the Morning Mouth with Johnny Rooster and Pastor Matt this morning coming up here in a little bit. The continuation of Jody's testimony. Now there is one word in there that is a bad word that I'm going to have to around 14 minutes. I think I'm going to have to skip it to a later part.
Yes.
I'll try to be able to mute it, but it's one of those things. I don't know exactly where it's at, and we were already too far into the recording to go back and
with
re-record everything.
Johnny Rooster.
Yeah, with Johnny Rooster and Pastor Matt, and the person. It's and his testimony is, it's real. It's a real show. So
So
you know how
sorry,
that
Stacy.
goes, right? We've had cuss words on occasion up here.
Yeah.
And though we do not condone it, it does happen sometimes because some people are not used to being on the air, aren't used to, really thinking about what their language does to people. I mean, so yeah, it's going to be more on his testimony of what's going on, and it's a pretty good testimony.
Hey, John Boynton.
So yeah, let me back up out of here. I'm actually pulling up that video now as we speak.
That's what's next?
That's what's next, and then followed by the happy hour with Dr. Paul and Nancy Collins.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
You can't wait for that.
His famous poem, not poems,
Slow
but
close.
The
Slow
slow
close.
close.
how many slow closes do we have?
There's quite a few of them.
Does he still really do that?
Not as much as he used to.
I
Um,
have noticed.
Ouch!
He,
Ouch! What, Jenna Hale?
oh, she was talking about whenever you had the airbag blow in your face.
Oh yeah.
She said, "Ouch."
I don't know.
Justifiably so. Understandable.
I don't remember
My
much.
father always said it to be our limited vocabulary. My friend John Boynton said.
I should also mention I was drunk, extremely drunk.
Well, then that's probably why you didn't remember.
Well, that and I got hit by an airbag and knocked
Yeah.
out.
Yeah,
That's
Well,
that's
what I'm
pretty much
saying.
that's pretty much hitting a reset button.
Especially being that close to it. I mean,
Yeah,
my head
when
was
your
basically
body
right on
has
top
all
of
those chemicals in it,
50th
you
wedding
tend
anniversary,
to not
Steve.
be with it. Huh?
Steve Schultz and his wife have been married for 50,
50
years.
Didn't they
today.
just have the anniversary of their meeting?
Whoa.
I don't know.
God bless her. Oh, I mean,
Maybe
God
the years
bless
are
you.
just going by that fast.
Yeah. Steve is a wood carver now.
Yep. Good one, too.
Yeah, yeah. I noticed he's made.
He's enjoying it.
yeah,
doing
you
a
should
great
make.
job.
Should make us a chessboard, Steve.
That would be good.
We'll play chess here on the air.
I'd like a bird or something. I don't know. I like.
Birdhouse.
I
Make
do
me a
like
birdhouse, Steve.
hummingbirds.
Mm.
They're elegant and delicate.
Elegant, so they're elegant.
Yep. I like dragonflies.
Mm-hmm.
Steve,
We
if
have
you need
some
a
really
project, a dragonfly would be cool.
We have some really cool dragonflies flying around. They're the ones with the black patches on their wings, so it looks like they've just got like an old school kite that's holding them up in the air.
Yeah,
It's pretty
you
neat.
could carefully thin the wings out of wood so that they're thin enough and then backlight it so the light shines through the wings, through the
Oh.
wood, and you see the grain, the wood grain, like you would through a dragonfly's wings. That'd be kind of cool.
I was a boy Cub Scout when we made birdhouses.
Johnny Rooster, cock-a-doodle-doo, he says.
Good morning, Johnny.
Good morning, Johnny. Long time no see, buddy.
And he said yes in regards to their anniversary of meeting.
Ah,
Steve.
that's what I
Steve
thought.
Schultz did.
Well,
So we got
I
about
did
10
say
minutes
God
left
bless
before we
her,
call it a
but
day.
what?
Yeah.
What time is it?
No.
Well, it's 8:37.
Oh,
yeah.
we got time.
Yeah, I said we got about 10 minutes before
Oh,
we call it a day.
I thought you said we got to call it a day. I'm
No,
like, wait.
no, no,
Oh,
no.
Shoo.
You never listen to me, Steve.
Yes, I do.
So we were talking about all kinds of stuff today. And I said it's a manic Monday or a manic Friday part, it's another manic Friday. It's not really a manic Friday. We're all pretty chill today, pretty relaxed.
It's been a long week. Well, pretty long week. Not as long as the last week for me, but
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, at least you've been here. Your car isn't broke down.
No,
Now the
amen.
window needs help,
yes.
but
That's minor compared to the other issues.
it's all right. I got to change the starter in mine, so I mean, I really can't say nothing.
Well, at least it's not major. That's a minor issue. It would be major if it started raining. That would be major.
Yeah. Well, we do need the rain, so I'm praying for rain, but not in
It's
your
not going
window.
to
We
happen
have
for a while.
A dry week ahead of us.
Yeah, it won't happen for a while. So, thank you,
Well,
Lord.
But this is the Ozarks, so there's
Yes.
always a
It'll
chance.
change, yeah. They'll say, "Oh, it's gonna pour down rain, flash flooding," and then it's like sunny all day.
Perfect
It's like-
day. Beautiful. perfect
Especially
day.
when you're trying to plan something outdoors and you
Mm.
think it's going to be sunny, all of a
And then
sudden you
it rain.
start seeing little dark clouds. Wait a minute, where'd that
Well,
come
we've
from?
had that. We've had that happen before, and we had all of our equipment set up.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
I was.
then-
It
We had
poured
Barney.
rain.
Barney up against, he's our drummer, up against a wall with a pipe coming out of the side of it, and we were like, we didn't think about it.
No, we
Well,
didn't
that
even know.
apparently that's a rain gutter
Yeah. Off of a flat roof.
off of a flat roof, so pretty much.
a big flat roof.
And he had his tent up, so one of us had to sit there and try to hold the tent up. And this is not light
there were
work here.
4 of us, 3 or 4 of us.
Yeah,
holding
where
it up.
Barney was trying to tear everything down.
Uh-huh.
We had to cover everything up real quick because, I mean, we're like, oh, it looks like there's a little bit of clouds there. Oh, and then it started sprinkling. We're like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And then it started pouring, and we're like, uh-oh. So,
We was in
we-
the middle of a block party in southern Missouri, just south of St. Louis. and all of a sudden we was in a trailer park, and all just out of the blue, just all of a sudden it got darker and darker, and clouds busted open, and
Yeah, so
man.
I remember that. I remember holding up the tarp because I saw the thing started to fill the thing started to fill up with water and come down on top of the drums.
Soon. I'll do music soon.
So I wanted to hold it up to the water splashed out of it onto the drums, but I didn't. I had to decide
Morning,
which.
Dusty.
You know, we all did decide which is worse. That whole thing collapsing with hundreds of pounds of water. in
Yeah.
it. The frame of that tent on those drums could have done some real damage.
Yeah.
So we chose the drums getting wet was a better option.
Yeah. So then one of us, and it took a couple of us to hold it up.
Yeah, because at first I thought let it collapse onto the drums and then the tarp will cover the drums.
Yeah.
But all that frame would have gone through all
Put it
those
right through the.
heads.
Because we had one of the kids was helping move one of the drums, and put it down on a spot that had a rock in it.
Oh yeah,
And
and
you just
poked
hear-
a hole right through it. Yeah, and she grinds it. Like,
And you're
'cause
like,
she-
stop.
but I mean, she just wanted it to be sitting steadily because she didn't want it to fall off the step.
Right.
But there was a rock there, so
Yeah.
she goes like this. It was so funny. It was like, oh no,
It was funny, not funny, because it didn't
Yeah.
belong to Barney.
no.
And so it punched a hole in the bottom head.
And drummers are very about their equipment.
Any musician
A
should be.
good old head on your drums that's working well. It's got the right sound,
That's like you've heard me. I won't let just anybody play my guitars.
right?
No.
Yeah.
And I've had
Better
people
learn how to play it before you play yours.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, and the thing is, I mean, even whenever I only had a $500 guitar as opposed to the guitars that I have now, still, even if it wasn't the 500, even if it's just my Washburn, that has a lot of sentimental value to me. My dad had that while I was all growing up. I played on it a lot. He gave it to me for my 28th birthday, because I was, in a life where I pawned a lot of stuff, and I pawned all my other guitars that I had. And Dad said, "This one is technically still mine, so you can't pawn it."
Right.
So I just a couple of years ago, well, as soon as I got the other acoustic, I decided to loosen the strings and retire it for now.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. So I loosened all the strings up so that way it's not got a lot of tension on it. And I'm thinking I'm going to have some work done to it and bring it back to its former glory. But anyways, long story short, I've had people come up and say, and whenever you're in a smaller environment like that, people, and the problem is a lot of people that come up and ask for if they can play it are drunk. We're drunk.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Because that's who we were serving.
That's who we were serving. And I'd have to find a way to be nice and say, no, I don't let anybody play my guitars. Even if they weren't drunk, I wouldn't let them play my guitars. Now,
I know somebody who
Hey,
went
Bruno.
through that recovery that we were working for, has sobered up and stayed sober, and is one of my customers.
you talking about
Midtown. That was
Yeah.
a miracle ministry. I mean, it's hard to watch, to be involved in. You have to
Yeah.
really be committed, and it's hard to go day after day after day. And a lot of times you might think there's no real progress being made.
And
but
they do.
then, years and years later, when you see those people still being sober, it's an amazing feeling to know. I mean, I didn't have any part in it really, but
well,
it's
there was
amazing.
a guy
to-
I used to party with back in my early 20s.
yeah,
And
two,
me.
me.
Yeah,
Well, I
well,
mean-
this guy, he started coming out there, and he saw me standing up there, and we used to party hard together. Yeah. You and I did, and so did me and this gentleman. And he said, "Man, we used to start drinking at 11 o'clock at night and not stop until about 2 o'clock the next afternoon."
Wow.
Yeah.
That is hard.
And then he sees me up there doing ministry, sober and stuff, and I mean, I didn't even, it had been so long, and we were so drunk all the time, I barely even remembered working with him and partying with him. And the thing is you don't know
How the
what
Lord's
your
working.
testimony does for people.
True.
You don't know who's watching you, who you've been around in the past. It's a lot of times if you're drunk a lot, you meet people and you don't really remember them because the most of the time that you hung out with them, you were drunk or hungover or high or whatever. So we should always be aware of what we're doing and how we're
The
Wouldn't
Lord's
I-
working in the margins. You
You
never
shouldn't-
know where God's working in an effort that you put in. When you know
God
the
is
Lord
in the
calls you
details.
to do something, you go and you do it, and you don't have to. It doesn't have to turn out the way you imagined, because that's not what God has you there for. God doesn't bring you to a ministry to fulfill all of your imagination.
Yeah.
God calls you to a ministry so that He can be there with you to do the work on the people He's there to get,
Yeah.
to save. The
Say,
people
here I
He's there
am,
to
Lord, send me.
Yep.
And ask every step you take be a glory to Him.
It's an honor to be used. It's an honor
Capital
to be
H.
used in whatever capacity that He will use you.
And, thank God for people like Buddy and Suzette.
You're involved now because this is what that evolved into. This is really still a part of all of what we had done, what the Lord
Yeah.
called us to do. The Lord called us to that ministry. This equipment is what that band came from.
Yeah.
Or
what that came from that band.
yeah. Yep.
And, the God puts you in places.
Yeah.
That's, that He wants you to be.
Yep. All this wiring has been on stage, out on the square, laid out, miles of wire.
Yeah, literally.
Probably
least
not
a mile or
actually
two.
miles.
I bet
yeah,
you it took you quite a while
at
to
least a mile's
take down
worth.
then.
I've bought 500. Probably about a tenth of a mile of actual wire. Well, no, you're probably more.
Yeah.
I
there's a
should
lot
do the
more.
math. It may be a mile of wire.
Man.
It's all been out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is what it evolved into.
That board back there.
made this possible.
That board there, that was our CD was recorded using that board right there.
Yep.
You know.
That was a lot of
Wow.
work.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work. You should have seen my house back in those days. You can see it. Some of the pictures you've already seen. That's
Yeah.
my dining room and my kitchen.
Yep.
Man.
Yeah, we
and
spent
to have
many
all that
hours.
stuff in there, it must have been
It was the size of
overloaded.
this area. It was the size of
Yeah.
this area here. My
Yeah.
kitchen and dining room. My kitchen and dining room were actually a little bit. If you count that curtain over to that wall to this wall, my kitchen and dining room were probably just a little bit longer. I would think.
But
I think
not
so.
as.
It
And
was as wide. It was
the first
16 feet.
the first shows that we did on axradio.com were in a booth about the size of this,
Mm-hmm.
but with a wall in the middle.
Yeah. And it wasn't a straight wall. It was kind of angled.
It was
and
angled because
jig-jog.
there's a drum set on the other side.
Yeah.
So we were really bunched in there close.
You talk
Yeah.
about packed in there like sardines.
That's where this started, in a drum room,
Yeah.
in my dining room.
That is.
Look what God's done.
And it was
Oh yeah.
a little bigger than the space you see inside here in the middle.
Yeah.
Just a little bit bigger.
So any one payment, one payment or several payments from people donating, that'd be great to make it even bigger.
Yeah, go to axmediagroup.com/please-donate. And even if it's $1 or $2, you can do it every month. You can have it come out just one time, or you can have it come out automatically every month. Every little bit helps. Another way that you can help us is by liking and sharing these videos on your timeline and in your news story. That really helps. The more views that we get, the more views we will get. And that's what we need. We need the viewership, and not only how many people that we have view, but we also want non-Christians to view us, so that we can talk to them in a non-intrusive way about God and what He does in our lives.
Yeah.
You know.
Axe Television Network, John. He wanted to know what ATN meant.
Oh,
I have no regrets. The only regrets I have is that my perception of how things should go was not what God's plan was. And God worked His way through it regardless of what my perceptions and my imaginings were, or I don't know, the only fantasies, I suppose, is what you think in your mind something should be like. And then it doesn't end up like that. You end up disappointed. And I should have never been disappointed, because I have no regrets otherwise.
it still happened the way God wants it to, regardless.
It happened the way God wants it to. I have managed to stay sober, and my entire life has changed in a positive way that I can't even measure.
Yeah.
The alternative was me being drunk, and everything you see here being exchanged into alcohol.
Nothing to show except for a hangover, headache,
and sickness,
and a pickled liver.
and hurt people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It
that's
leaves
tough.
destruction in its wake.
And that's the least of it. Like God changed my life.
He
That-
did.
So all of this investment is not a loss because what it would have been is alcohol consumed. No doubt, it's guaranteed. I know exactly what it would have been.
This would have all been liquefied and ran through your kidneys
Yep.
and your liver.
and I would have been sick and lost.
You
Never,
you probably would have died by now. As much
Probably.
as you drank.
and fought. Never would have been reunited with my family.
Don't they call that alcohol poisoning?
I've
Just
had that.
just slow deterioration from constant abuse from alcohol.
Yeah.
Because
you know.
I've got some friends who went through that, and luckily they've got some ramifications from it, but they're still alive and they're doing okay.
You mean wet brain?
Yeah.
Wet brain is a coma, basically, and some people don't ever come out of it, and some people do. Actually, my recovery this last time started with a teacher who had wet brain and was a motorcycle gang member.
Well, it's time for us to get out of here.
Yeah.
We can talk about wet brain on Monday.
Eh, by then we might
I got
have
nothing
wet
to say
brain.
about it.
Well, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us on the morning drive today. We do appreciate you guys very much.
We do.
We'll be back on Monday, same time, same channel. Be sure and tune in next for a pre-recorded episode of The Morning Mouth with Johnny Rooster and Pastor Matt, entitled "It's Story Time Part 2." All right, with Jody. I think it's his name, Jody. Yeah. So until then, and also after that, forgot about that. The Happy Hour with Dr. Paul Collins and his lovely
Can't
wife
miss that.
Nancy, and listen to all the interesting stuff he has to say. So until then, my friends, God bless you and keep you. We love you. My name is Matt,
My name is Jay.
My name is Steve.
and this has been
The Morning Drive.